Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at, finally, from the Transformers Legacy line, this is Commander Class Motormaster. Now, I got this figure a few weeks ago from the Command Store, where they do have it in stock. Unfortunately, I paid a little bit of a premium for it, thinking I would get to it sooner than I did. In the time since I've gotten this figure and I'm now reviewing it, it's actually being shipped from Amazon, Entertainment Earth, and being found in stores like Target, and also being shipped from Big Bad Toy Store. So you can probably check out those locations and get it at a little more reasonable price. Um, well, I did put up a poll, as some of you probably know, about what would you want to see in this review. And the vast majority said to just focus on Motormaster and the base mode, saving the full Menasor combined mode when we have the entirety of the Stunticons. Because as of this recording, I only have Dragstrip. Wild Rider should be coming sooner than later. Some people have been able to find it in stores, but it's not shipping from any retailers that I know of yet. I did miss out on getting a set shipped from a American seller a few weeks ago of all 4 Wave 2 figures, but it is what it is. And that's a little bit of a sticking point. I think Motormaster came far too early in terms of the release schedule. I think Motormaster should have been released in Wave 4 when the last Stunticon was going to be released. That way, you would be able to have the full team combined to form Menasor. Now, we're not going to be looking at Menasor in this review, but what I will tell you is you can form Menasor as a skeleton. It looks very disturbing, just not pleasant at all. That's number one. Number two, you do need Motormaster to form Menasor. It does form a good portion of the torso as well as the head. I know originally when I first saw this, I believed everything that was related to Menasor was contained in the trailer. And then finally, also, some people have said you do end up with some parts left over, namely this central tower that's here in the base mode. Well, that's actually meant to be used with Menasor as a stationary cannon for it to use with the handgun here. So this is the base mode, which we're starting out with. It is made from all the parts of the trailer. There is no storage for the sword in base mode. I'm just pegging it on there, one of the loose ports that's around. And let me just say, I was very impressed with the packaging of Motormaster. You open the box, and you don't see anything. You actually have to pull out a central cardboard flap, and there's Motormaster packaged in vehicle mode. And everything is contained. The cannon, the sword, everything can store in vehicle mode. Robot mode, that's a different story, but what are you going to do? So, let me go ahead and remove Motormaster here. And we'll take a look at him a little bit later on. I did actually think at first that the figure might actually peg into the base mode, but it does not. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, but I can sort of understand why that didn't happen. And let me tell you, Motormaster is a fun figure. Now, to break down the base into its components, let's also remove the sword there. This is another one of my little sticking points. I feel the sword is a little too big for Motormaster and will probably end up being a little too small for Menasor. I'm actually contemplating getting a third-party add-on kit for a properly chromed sword and maybe a laser rifle that better resembles the original toy, because as we'll see in a moment, while you can hold the cannon here in the hand, there's no central peg, and that's one of my little pet peeves. But this does break down into component pieces. You remove the sides here, and also that central tower. It tabs in, but word of advice, if you want to have Motormaster manning this cannon, peg the handles into the hand and then slide it into the tabs here. And this torso piece does like to swivel a little, chest piece, so you might have to fiddle it to line it up. But there's that. There's this, and then go ahead and remove these back pieces. They peg it together like that, and yes, these are all basically the components for Menasor, but we're going to go back and reform the trailer. First thing you want to do is remove this central cannon bit. Just bring the hands together, fold that piece down, and like I said, it can actually hold, but it would hold from like offside. Flip up that barrel. We'll put that off to the side for a moment. I think we'll start with the what would be the legs, but were the sides. I was a little disappointed because if you remember the original Motormaster, its base mode could actually interact with Trypticon, as was the gimmick with the Scramble City combiners, that they could, the Autobots interacted with Metroplex, the Decepticons interacted with Trypticon. No way to do that here. First thing you want to do is flip the foot up, and it will snap into place into that central column, and then you just flip this section over, and that will tab into place right there. And let's do that again on this side. Again, and you want to make sure it does snap into place. You do want it that closed. And now what we're going to do, since we have these two sections, grab the cannon here, and there's a tab here, little groove there, and that will just slide in, tab into place, and copy it here, and this will all peg together, and there you have the top of the trailer. And I do want to mention, yes, you do have this opening here, this little gappage. It's not you, that's how it's designed. So you do get a little pop of color, but it's also not flush. But if you look at it from the side, it's not too bad. Grabbing what would be the arms of Menasor, but were the back platform of the base mode, you want to fold this section up, and it will tab it back into place, just like so. Repeat it again on this side, just like that. And then we'll just go ahead and tab the two sections together. Like so, like so. And then come along, and this section will tab down into that. Squeeze it all together. There we go. There's some tabs here in the back that will go up, and there's those posts. So you have that whole rear section now. And this is the legs and arms of Menasor. And I got to tell you, very heavy, very dense. This is the central column here. What you want to do is fold that flap up, rotate this section around so that these tabs are facing towards the legs, and very tight ratchet joints. You're going to rotate this up, and this groove here will sit into that, this tab here will go into that groove. That will hold the legs in place. And then finally, we come to this section here. This actually goes around this part, and is what connects this to the rest of the cab. You want to split it open just like so. Just start folding the pieces up, and let's see how this is going to work. It's like a sandwich. You just want to I'm trying to like be gentle-ish with it. Do I even have it facing the right way? Oh, no, I did not have it facing the right way. Oopsies. So just like that, you square it off at the bottom there. That'll all tab together, and then bring this section down, bring that section down. These two sections don't really peg together, but what will happen now is they form this one unit tab that will tab into the section there, just like so. And if you look underneath here, this is where you peg that cannon in. There's actually a little stand that comes out. I don't think you really need to see Motormaster holding the sword, so we can just peg it in there. That's the storage. Peg that all together, and there you go. Very dense, very heavy. I was very surprised by the weight. You know, as I've said time and again, weight usually isn't important to me. It's usually the size, but when it's this noticeable, I have to point it out. And I do hope whatever third-party kit comes along that gives us a better sword, it's still able to be pegged in and stored like that. Oops. It's one little thing. It's a friction here, because this can go all the way back. So this is being held in friction. So just don't push it or anything. But that is the trailer. We'll pause and then come back and get into the transformation for Motormaster. One of the reasons why I decided with this review to go from the base to vehicle mode is I had heard comments that a lot of people were having problems getting panels on Motormaster to stay in place. Now, I've transformed him a few times already. The transformation is actually not that bad, and I can see why there would be a lot of problems, because basically you have it's a predominantly black plastic figure with obviously black tabs going into slots that are hollow and thus black, so it's really hard to see. I mean, I'm using here the lighting for my station, so that'll make it a little bit easier, but if you're just sitting around fiddling with it in your hands, which I've done, it can get a little tricky. So let's just start off by zeroing out Motormaster. Articulation is very nice. You got ratchets in the hips, swivels, double jointed knees, great elbow articulation. My copy, everything tabs in very nicely, maybe in some cases a little too nicely. But start the transformation, you want to bring the arms forward, open the panels, and then flip the hands in, closing up the panels once you're done. Next, what you want to do is come around the back here and then swing this whole section down and around. Move the arms out of the way so it'll clear. You can then swivel out the wheel section so it's flat. And then what you're going to do is unpeg the arms from the armpit joint, rotate them over. There is a slot on top where the arms will snap into place, and you do have to use a little bit of force to make sure you get them lined in, just like so. And then for your own sanity, there are tabs here on what were the forearms. You're going to bring that section up, and that will form what will be the rear of the vehicle. Now what you want to do, we're going to focus on the legs, so bring them down backwards at the hips, just like so. Spread them out a little, give yourself a little room. And here's a hot tip. These are the feet. As you can see, we got the fake cab to represent the original toy, so you can rotate this around. But before you rotate it around, you need to get that wheel out. It's easy to get in, hard to get out. Well, this front part of the foot can open up, and it's very easy then to get the wheel out. It's not shown in the instructions. Well, I think that opens up for Menasor mode, but you can use it to get the wheel out. That's the only way I can do it. I almost broke a nail trying otherwise. So do that. Rotate the foot around. Open up this back panel. Open up this side panel. Get it all out of the way. And that will tab into the side. So bring the figure around here. Do the same thing. Open up the panels. This panel tabs into the side here. This panel closes up the back. And then again, you want to tilt out the foot so you can rotate it. Open up the front to flip out the wheel. Close that. Rotate it back around. that will sort of soft tab into place, and we're kind of cooking. Next, what you want to do is you want to angle the legs down. Like, make sure these larger post pinholes are facing up, but have the legs angled that in such a way that, as you can see, the wheels will touch the ground. At this point, you can go ahead and open up these side panels, and I almost forgot. Oopsies. There's another panel in here that needs to come out too. Oh boy. Oops. No charge for the mistake, folks. But yeah, flip out that panel. You should do that probably before you worry about taking the wheel out. I was so excited to show you the trick with the wheel that I almost forgot these panels. But these actually will help secure the cab in vehicle mode. So yeah, and this will help you angle it down just like so. And what you can do at this point, I would recommend, is peg the cab together. Sometimes in just handling the figure, you will end up with the tab closing. Bring this down. Those side tabs will sort of peg into place. You're just really getting everything in position. If it ends up pegging in early, that's cool. Let me just bring this down slightly. And then before you give it the final blessing, unpeg these were the shins. These will peg into the top here. These are on a double hinge, so you can just rotate them back. Again, everything tabs in like really tight, which is I'm really happy and impressed about. So there we go. And then just start bringing everything together. Where's that? There we go. That tab's there. Like I said, they're black tabs going into a black slots. Kind of hard to see, but everything tabs in there. And now to get to the top part here, honestly, that's why you want to make sure those holes are there. And really what you just got to do is just force them in, and they'll stay down. And there you have Motormaster in its cab mode. You know, not too bad unless you're like me and you forget to actually flip out panels. But hey, like I said, no charge for the mistakes. Make sure everything's pegged together. A little gappage in the front, but because it's black, you don't really notice it. Let's bring in the trailer. There's a post there, and the slot here on the rear, and then there's that, and it actually pegs in a little more securely than Optimus Prime's Earthrise trailer. But there you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's about it. So how about we pause and we come back with my final thoughts. There's really not much more I can say about Motormaster. I enjoy the figure. It's fun to transform. It's actually not as hard as I initially thought, although I haven't tried doing the Menasor transformation yet. And I really won't until I get at least a couple more of the Stunticons. And again, that goes back to my primary issue, is that this figure should have been released towards the end of the year, when all the Stunticons technically should be out. And let me just also point out the other problem. If you were going to wait to pick up Motormaster until the other Stunticons come out, there's a good chance it won't be available because it'll sell out. Stores won't be stocking it because it's part of a different wave. And these are the type of things that make me miss the old days where, a store would get the entire year's product all in one shot, and you really had the whole year or so to buy everything you wanted. But you've heard the stories about how that changed, if not from me, then from somebody else. So you know what we're dealing with. At the end of the day, though, Motormaster is a fun figure, a great purchase, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that final combined Menasor. We do know, just from the early pictures, that it's going to be bigger than the original Combiner Wars version. It's a different play pattern, but it should be a little more stable and a little more articulated as well. So that's about it. This is your old pal Chuck for Motormaster. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.